Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver
Bix
now.
Weir, roadrunner.com. We have a little action in silver. I don't trust it yet because it hasn't gone back over the moving averages. But silver up 58 cents. Maybe it just, the riggers got tired. Nobody trades on the COMEX anyway. The riggers got tired of driving the price down. I don't know. But we're still under the moving averages. So anything can happen. They could go for a big slam. They can go for a run up. The idea is they want to get out of the silver market, the silver derivative market, because it is deadly to any bank. So we'll see what happens. Just the whole silver space is just quiet these days. Just waiting. Everybody's just waiting. If you haven't made all your silver purchases, obviously now's the time to do it. By the way, the U.S. Mint is on track to do over 3 million coins again this month. It's not their max capacity, and it's still on allocation, meaning there's more demand than there is supply. But it is a good sign. We're right at that point over the next month from now, so the middle of October, where we would hit the number that I was told they had an extra 4 million ounces, which would have put us at 19 million for the month. Right now it's at 16.4. So, is it only that and then they're just going to stop in October, November, or is there something going to happen between now and mid-October, which is more likely? I don't know. I haven't heard that they got more silver other than the 4 million ounces that we were told about. So we will find out. If they stop making Eagles in mid-October, that says a lot. It means the allocation they were given, the sales department was given back in early June, is all they got. And it isn't that big of a coup. And we'll find out, though. If they keep making 3 million a month and we go into November and they do another 3 million and then close down for December, because that's when they have to trade out the dies. What do the employees do when they close down for December? They're still making the coins because January is always, a big month. They just load up on a bunch of the next year's coins. So I don't know why they stop sales in December. Nobody's explained that properly. It's not like, federal employees get more vacation days than anybody else. And I would assume it's a big time to buy silver, and you don't want to stop production of silver when you can sell the most of it. I get that, they want to go through their old inventory, but if they already have commitments for it, you got a commitment for 2023 Silver Eagle. And you don't have to stop. You can still sell 23s and 24s. I think the sales department can handle that. Jack Sermon, the head of the sales, sounds like he can handle anything, but they just won't let him. So we will see. Keep an eye on the mint. These are the production figures. They're at 16,400,000, right on track. They had those 3 months where they just weren't producing anything. Hopefully they've turned a corner. I believe they've done a lot of damage to themselves. The name of the U.S. Mint, the fact that the Maple Leaf is a better seller than the Silver Eagle is just shocking to everybody in the industry. And it's all because of the management of the U.S. Mint and the reasons behind not wanting to sell Silver Eagles. And this is mainly, it's just silver. Gold, they can get as much gold as you want. What is it about silver? We all know. Anyway, so keep an eye on that. Yes, as you can tell, the moving averages, we're still below the moving averages. Don't get excited until, what are we at? 30, about 23, 70, 24. It hits 24. We might have taken away the potential for a downside slam, at least right away. And of course, we know that the true fair market value of silver is well north of, I would say today, $2,000. But it'll come in time, hopefully. We just need to shut down the COMEX. Let me get to that, for example. The COMEX is the open interest is disappearing. But remember, open interest is about 98, 99% the same banks trading back and forth to each other. Very few people use the COMEX. So open interest of 127,000 contracts is about what? 750 million ounces of silver, supposedly, that the whole market does. And it's like 99% is the criminal banking cabal trading back and forth to each other. That's all the volume that you see right here. Huge volume day yesterday of 450, almost 430 million silver derivative ounces of silver derivatives traded yesterday. Yes, of course it's insane. I mean, look at the August 23rd month. They did 110. 110, which is 600 million. It's just so embarrassing to the United States of America. We do have new data from the OCC, the Office of Comptroller of Currencies. By the way, back to this, they did have a really big exchange for physical today. 2,110 contracts, which is what, 10,500,000 ounces. That's pretty big. And add that to the current 29. So we're at, no, that's 20. Sorry, 20,000. 20,500,000. There you go. And you got 50 million. We're up at 50 million, which is pretty high. We're midway through the month. Anything over 100 million ounces. This is the LBMA. These are what they do is they buy on the COMEX because the COMEX won't really allow for delivery without shutting you down like the Hunt brothers. Everybody puts them over to England. But England's a joke. The LBMA is a joke. And I'll show you the data why. Here's the data on transfers. Quote, real physical transfers. Now, they're not talking about physical metal going from one stack to another. They're talking about paper contract ownership. So it's a derivative market too. But they are trading right here, yesterday, 250 million ounces supposedly of physical, which is ridiculous. There's no reason that the volumes on the LBMA, supposedly a physical exchange market, are 250 million ounces a day. It's just stupid. And they know it's stupid, so they changed the numbers. Now, here's the big story of the day of yesterday. The OCC, the Office of Comptroller of Currencies, has come out with their second quarter report. This is, again, they try to hide it, and they did a good job of hiding it by adding the gold and silver derivatives together on the OCC report. This was done in 2022, the month after this guy, or the year after this guy joined and was in charge of the senior banks. This guy's name's Greg Coleman. He's the senior deputy comptroller for large bank supervision. He's the guy who said, oh shit, everybody can see how much silver derivatives JP Morgan and Bank of America have leased out. We need to hide this data. So they lumped them together with gold, so it looks like this. Now, the big news from this reading, what went on this month, let me show you right here. So JP Morgan dropped $18 billion worth of gold and silver derivatives. They went from 253 to 235. Is that huge? No, it's not when you're considering, they're at $235 billion worth of criminal derivatives on their gold and silver. Remember, they're both lumped together now. Goldman is no longer in the market. Citibank actually increased substantially, $7 billion worth of gold and silver. You don't know which one. And then Bank of America is the big story. They dropped $20 billion worth of gold and silver derivatives. I think a big chunk of that is the disappearing silver derivatives. Because remember, way back here, and the reason Greg Coleman, back here in 2021, the reason Greg Coleman combined this data is so that you couldn't see that the Bank of America derivatives on silver rose massively to like $28 billion, which, it was over 1 billion ounces of OCC derivatives. And this was a lease from JP Morgan to Bank of America. We've talked about that a lot. But as I said, most of those were 1-year terms, meaning that at the end of the year, whatever back end of the lease is in the contracts has to happen. Now, Ted Butler seems to think they have to give the money back to JP Morgan. I do not think that. I think it was a fixed buyout at the back end, because I know JP Morgan actually booked a $1 billion gain in their gold and silver derivatives the year they got fined $920 million. So that's how much they had in piled up earnings on their gold and silver game that they play. So yes, I do think, as we see, and the big news is this. So this is the first time I can see, at least in this data, since 2012, that the OCC numbers, now this is for gold and silver, have actually gone down in a quarter. It went from, 440 to 408, 440 billion to 408 billion. It could have been the sale of gold. I think it's the ending of the silver manipulation. All these years had to be hidden, because those are the years that Bank of America was closing out its book on silver. And they had to throw gold in there to hide it, but it's clear that Bank of America is getting out of something. They went from $101 million worth of something to 81,975,000. Sorry, 81,971,000,000. That's the end of those contracts signed by JP Morgan. So you saw JP Morgan go down 18 billion, Bank of America go down 20 billion. That's the closing of those contracts, because they both hedge them and they do all their derivative bullshit on both sides. Now, mind you, these contracts, they don't tell you if they're long or short. You don't get to know that information. My take is that's all silver. And if it is all silver, $20 billion of silver is a massive amount of silver. So it might be at in game now. And that $81 billion of Bank of America's would be all gold now. Not sure about that. And it might go another quarter. I don't know. This guy hides it from us. Greg Coleman, the Senior Deputy Comptroller of the Large Bank Supervision at the OCC. Of course, he came from JP Morgan. Don't forget that. This revolving door stuff. JP Morgan would not be able to operate as the world's number one criminal bank without enough people in the regulatory positions. Greg Coleman is a longtime regulatory guy, and no doubt he gets paid off by JP Morgan. But I don't have evidence of that. But I do know that he worked as the lead for capital markets team at JP Morgan. So you got the fox guarding the hen house. And and same with the OCC or the CFTC. The CFTC has a JP Morgan person on the commission too. Why is this allowed? You think Greg Coleman or whoever it was on the CFTC is ever going to turn in their sugar daddy, the JP Morgan people? No, of course not. Why do you think they were put there? So yeah, America's broken. Our markets are broken. I don't know how we got out of it, truthfully. We got to crash the whole system and then restart a new system, and that's when the real truth will come out about what is going on and who is involved in the criminality. So, no doubt in my mind, Greg Coleman is doing the dirty work of JP Morgan. Just for the simple fact that he hid all the silver derivatives on the OCC data report without any explanation. Yeah, I can get why you want to separate, because it was in the middle of the foreign exchange, or the U.S. dollar. What was it? They used to report it with the foreign exchange contracts. I can see, why not split gold out and silver out? If you want a free and fair market, let us see what you're doing, OCC. Why not split out gold separately? I mean, even just silver, precious metals separately. Gold has to be separated, or you don't know what the hell's going on because gold so much more has a higher dollar value, massively higher dollar value than silver. I mean, right now it's 85 to 1. Why would you lump them in together unless you're trying to hide the one that isn't worth much, which is silver at the moment. So yeah, and then all that does is prove just one more time that the regulators are in bed with the criminal riggers. So Greg Coleman, do the right thing, quit or separate out gold and silver and platinum and palladium. Why not tell us all of them? But having gold in there destroys any chance of figuring out what's going on. And the only reason to publish this data is you want to tell the public what's going on. Right? Why else would you publish this data if it wasn't to help the public understand that, oh, the markets are free and fair? They aren't free and fair. And shit like this proves it again and again and again. So, today is a $3.4 trillion triple witching day for the biggest September Opex on record. This is a derivative game. So this is all the futures and options that are being settled today. It's a lot of money. 3.4 trillion option expiry date. What they're saying is, because there's so many on both sides, it comes kind of to an equilibrium today. After today, it gets a little crazy volatility-wise. So we'll see what happens come Monday. Come Monday, it'll be all right. Or be crazy. You don't know. Today is Friday, so keep your eye out for bank. Remember, they want to close the banks on they'd love a 3-day weekend, probably like Thanksgiving or something. There's another holiday in October. But definitely a weekend is when they want to show the world that, oh, by the way, these banks are being destroyed. And everything, with the rise in the interest rates, even more this month and last month, the third quarter is going to be so destructive for the banking cabal. And everybody knows it. Even the banks are saying, oh, my God, our books are getting destroyed, even though the Fed's got how many $1 trillion out there. They're just giving money to the banks right now to support them and prop them up. So keep an eye on that. Other things, yes, the Biden. Have you noticed lately in like the past month or so, everything is going wrong for the Biden administration? Whereas before it was like the lie, cheat, and steal about everything. Now, remember when Biden said, oh, I'm not worried about a UAW strike? No. We got this figured out. Now, of course, they went on strike. The 3 largest automakers. Biden didn't expect it. Gee whiz. Biden's people didn't expect it. Gee whiz. This is huge. This is a lot of employees and a lot of money coming out of the economy. Here's how the GM and CEO Mary Barra from GM.
Hey Joe, Mary, thank you for joining us. Mary Barra, Chair and CEO of General Motors. Strike was called at midnight. What's your reaction initially? And I know you knew this was coming, but what's your reaction?
Well, Phil, our team has been working since July 18th.
I can't go through it or they're going to knock me off of YouTube for it. Basically she said, I'm frustrated and disappointed. We don't need to be on strike right now, says GM CEO. We have a very generous offer on the table. Did you see what they're getting? Like, it's a massive increase, but because all the car companies are doing well because of all the money that's pumped into the system and people. I'm surprised Biden isn't giving away free cars. He kind of is with the, like, for example, the electric vehicle bonuses, and it might be a state thing. California has its huge California is the most ridiculous country. I call it a country, city or state in the world. Most ridiculous. Gavin Newsom already declared he's not going to go for president. If he did, it would expose the world to the insanity of California. They want to give reparations to all the black people. Now, but you can identify as whatever you want, right? Reparations in the, like millions of dollars to each black person who was never a slave. And other people, everybody else has to pay for it. They were never slaves either. They never owned slaves. California was always slaves were illegal in California. It was never a slave state. And Gavin Newsom, a rich white guy who knows how deep and dark those secrets are. I know a lot of them, and it's not pretty. You look at the bad stuff that like John Podesta was doing, and it's right up there with that, if you ask me. But yeah, what was I talking about? I don't even know. Everything's falling apart on the Biden administration. gas prices. Remember, gas prices are just as rigged as gold and silver prices. So why now? Why are the riggers jacking prices up in oil now? I think everything is falling on the criminals now, and even they're arresting Trump for what? For calling out Ukraine. That's what they impeached him for. He said somebody needs to look into the Biden situation in the Ukraine. Oh, we're going to impeach you for that, and it turns out it's true. What happens to that impeachment? It's so insane. It's so crazy. So, but this is we knew it was coming. And it's going to get worse, and it's going to get weirder and stranger and more desperate, and all of a sudden the exchanges won't be open, the internet's down. What the hell are you going to do? Most people I know have planned for this, are ready for anything, have their assets in their own possession only. And we have a hurricane headed to New York, Boston area, Maine. If you guys haven't seen this thing, it's called Ventusky. 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 Pretty cool site because you can pick a day. What will the weather be like? What will the hurricane look like? And right now, it's got it coming in just right up there, up kind of into Maine. We got some good speeds in there. Don't forget, they can intensify these things. They can steer it, a couple hundred miles to the left. It's easy. It's easy to manipulate weather now. This is the one I'm interested in. There's a new one brewing that if it does hit, it's right now it has it going back out to sea, but it does strengthen. That's like that 100-mile-an-hour winds right in there. It does strengthen, and a lot of people saying the 23rd is someday in all these movies, and everybody's predicting the 23rd. They said the same thing last year on the 23rd. I don't know. I know the 25th, JP Morgan gets out of their silver deferred prosecution agreement. So, I mean, if the good guys were going to make a move in silver, they're going to make a move before JP Morgan is able to completely rig the markets again. I know Jamie Dimon's waiting for that date. He said, oh my God, I can't wait until the 25th, then we can start rigging silver again. They don't care about gold. They got all gold they need. They care about silver. Silver's the destroyer of banks. So if the good guys are in charge, they're going to need to do something probably before the 25th. Or say, hey, you violated 10 things that you shouldn't have, JP Morgan, so we're not going to release you from this obligation. We're going to bring back the RICO charges. This is like, 2 weeks away, a week and a half away. So we'll see what happens. If this hurricane doesn't hit hard, this one might. It's way too early, and this thing isn't that accurate when you go back too far. But definitely, you can press play and watch it move too. Watch this. Isn't that cool? Every hour, we can see what's going on right here tomorrow morning. There it is, Hurricane Lee. It does linger for quite a bit on the right outside of New York, and because they can intensify this and slam it anywhere they want. Remember that. So yeah, it looks like it lingers till Sunday and just keeps lingering. That's a hell of a lot of rain, and then it starts breaking up and going off to the right. Come midday, it looks like right there. It comes ashore and breaks off, and that's a lot of rain, though, my friends. So tomorrow and the next day, get ready for a lot of rain. Probably now. Let's see. Where are we right now on the East Coast? It's probably about 1 o'clock on the East Coast right now. Wait, what's today? Today's Friday. Sorry. 1 o'clock East Coast. Starting to get the rain, but by right in there, you're going to see a lot of it. That's the, and you can do clouds, you can do wind speed. So this is what it looks like. I haven't looked at the weather. It's looking pretty rainy precipitation. But yeah, pretty cool, huh? Go check it out. Ventusky. All right, that's all I got. You can get your Veri token still, at least for right now. You get your Veritasium token, stick it in your safe with your silver so that you can say, I'm covered on cryptos because I got Veritasium, one Veritasium token, and a big, huge stack of silver. And then you're covered on both fronts, in my opinion. It's like a lottery ticket. Think of it as a lottery ticket. Probably won't ever be worth much, but if it does, and I think it will, but if it does, you're talking it'll go from $14 to $14,000 type of thing. Anyway, yes, you can get it on mercatox.com or IO, but you got to know what you're doing, and you can only swap it for Ethereum or Bitcoin. And it's a very thin market, so don't go in there with a big pile of Bitcoin or Ethereum and say, I'm going to buy, because you're going to double the price of it. All right? So that's what I got for you. We give these away with every private road subscription. Go to roadtoruler.com, click on subscribe today. I'll talk to you guys later.